Hi guys, electric power motor Q&A. I got so many questions on different respects of your power motor. Let's just go through them, okay? You can see right now I just put my mini dew inside the house. This is the dining table. It's the dining table. So you can see the size of the motor and that's a good thing about electric motor. So there's no greedy oil, gasoline leaking, anything. I can actually live on my dining table. So I don't really worry about messing up around. So basically, you can leave the electric power motor inside the house anywhere. Okay. It's just not like a gasoline motor. It has a smell. You have leaking, those stuff. Okay, the question usually people ask that my power motor frame is not stronger like another's, and I bet you probably see the YouTube video and people standing on the power motor frame and bumping, show you how strong that motor frame is. I don't really get it. You think about the airplane. How strong is the airplane? Is that means the airplane can survive from crash? No, no way, right? So it's the same thing. You have a strongest power motor frame. It doesn't mean it can save your ass at all. That's a fact. Okay. You want safe flight. You don't want to challenge weather. You want to build your skill. I mean, I have a video actually talk about those how you safe fly in power motor. You can check it out. So for me, I mean, you build a super strong motor frame, and it doesn't mean anything at all. And my frame, I just want the frame stronger enough to hold the structure, and each part is easy to replace. I mean, any of each part you can replace individually, and it's pretty cheap. I mean, you just a pull. I mean, $10, $20. That's you can place it, right? My friend actually, my friend another day, he got a little bit hard landing. I mean, when he land, he probably lose a step and then just sit on the ground. It's it's just a little hard landing, not something serious, and his frame actually bend a little bit. So if you don't look closely, you don't really see that bend, but just a little bend. I mean, the whole section cannot just put together and take it apart to put together. And he have to change the whole section to because that little bend. So that's a strong power motor frame. It's just more costly. It doesn't really means anything for your power motor flying. Okay. Uh, okay. Another question. Uh, what happened if the motor died in the air? I mean, that's really common question. Uh, I mean, that's really common situation as well. you know. So for your gasoline engine, uh, normally your carburetor, if it's getting a little bit dirty, uh, you can actually feel the certain speed, the certain wake points for your carburetor in the certain speed. So if you travel in that wake speed, sometimes the carburetor just stop the whole motor. But for the gasoline engine, there are many factors will affect on the motor, and they can be stopped in many ways, but for the electric motor, more likely there's only one way. The motor will stop in the air because overheat. So if you are leaving the hot zone and when you're packing the gear, everything, you leave this outside and under the sand, before you fly you can not even touch the motor. You can see how hot it is. So in that situation, it's very possible you got overheat in the air. But for the electric motor, when it's overheat in the air, you can just wait for a couple of seconds and just don't give a full throttle back. You just give like a half throttle, and normally it will continue flying. Okay. It's the same thing like a gas engine. You have to restart your engine and keep flying. And electrical motor is the same thing. You just wait for a couple of seconds and don't give a full throttle. Just give a half throttle. Normally, it will keep you flying. And people talk about my dual motor version. They say that if it's one motor stop and you're gonna spin in the air, but that's pretty much impossible to happen in that way, because so the motor, you can see the motor. So this is a brushless motor. There's no circuit board inside the motor. Okay, there's nothing actually there's nothing actually control the motor in the motor. Okay, when we talk about the motor overheat, it's actually the controller figure out the motor overheat to stop the motor. Okay, for the protection. Okay, so if your controller cannot really figure out the motor overheat and you keep overheating the motor, and finally the copper wire will be burning out. Okay, but more likely your controller have such feature to control the overheat. So that's why when we talk about the overheat, it's your controller figure out the motor overheat and stopped. So that's why when we talk about the two motors, there's no way to have one motor just stopped, because whenever the motor overheat, your controller will stop. So the controller will stop both motor, not just one motor. Okay, so this is a pretty much impossible situation that you have just one motor stop in the air and then you're going to spin in the air. So there's no way for that. Okay. When we talk about the motor, and people usually ask another question, how long your motor will survive, so how long your motor can last. So you can see the brushless motor, there's nothing actually in touch. Okay, the only thing in touch is your bearing. So the bearing is right here, another bearing is right here. Other than the bearing, there's nothing in touch. So that's why the motor can last pretty much forever. The only maintenance is just all you lubricate your bearing, maybe once a year. And even though if its bearing wear out, you can replace them. And the motor itself pretty much can last forever. Okay. So how many questions have been answered? I just keep talking. Okay. Yeah. Whatever the question you have, just leave me a comment, and I definitely get back to you. I probably doing more video and talk about more situation for your power motor flying. Okay. And we'll see you next time.